What is going on, everyone? To the DC Defenders Show, the only home for the defenders of the UFL. Alex isn't here. He's got a case of COVID. So I got a special guest, man. This is a big one. This is definitely a big one, especially from a guy coming from Georgia. This is a huge one for me. Davin Bellamy, how are you? How are you, man?
I'm doing good, man. I appreciate you for having me, man. No doubt. Appreciate it.
Yeah, like I said, you're a Georgia guy. Like
right.
I've known your name before spring leagues existed. You know what I mean? So like you're definitely one of them that I had to get on. You're the first interview for us. So because we've only had 4 episodes, so this is a great start for us. So.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. So once I seen it was just branded towards the DC Defenders, I felt like it would be pretty cool to come on.
Yeah, thanks. So talk about that DC, that brand, right? You played in front of those guys. What was it like playing in front of the Beer Snakes and the Lemons and all up in Audi Field?
Man, I tell people all the time. Played in Georgia, played in some of the best games in college football history. I played in ESPN Classics. Played in the Dome for that championship dome for the SC Championship. I've played in the Rose Bowl out there in the West Coast. I mean, I'm just telling you, man, like I told people all the time, that crowd and that experience I've never experienced before in my life. Even though it was only 24,000 people, just the togetherness, the rowdiness, the whole show of it, it doesn't compare to even playing in front of 100,000 at Tennessee or 96,000 in Athens. So it was nuts, man. They brought it every week. You know what I'm saying? It was crazy.
Yeah. What was it like, even though you weren't connected to the city because you guys didn't live there? Obviously, you guys were in Arlington.
Right. Mm-hmm. Arlington.
They welcomed you with open arms, obviously, right?
No, they did, man, bro. It was so much love, bro. I would go to Ocean Prime the night before the game. And the manager in there would show love, once we started winning. And I was like, okay, they kind of know us in here. It's pretty crazy. And then, man, I just kind of became like a fan favorite. Before the game, you could interact with fans, and people bringing their kids out. Those fans actually would make sure my mom came in town, that she got to the game, all that. I mean, they took me in. DC took me in and took us in with, just big open arms. And I can only kind of speak for my experience, but I got nothing but love from the fans and from the kids. And one thing I learned about going to Georgia that Kirby Smart always instilled in us was people enjoy winning.
They definitely do.
People enjoy winning. Everyone wants to be associated with winners. So, we were winning and they wanted to be a part of it. And it was one big family, man. And yeah, man, it was, they definitely just embraced us with open arms.
You talk about winning. And so I told you before the show, we covered the Maulers last year and coming over to DC. And I reach out to, there's a lot of people on the Twitter space that are, they're the Beer Snakes. They dress up as the Lemon Heads and all that. I share a bunch of that. And a lot of those people are like, that's actually DC's football team, the Defenders. It's not the Commanders. It's the Defenders. And that's just crazy to me because, like, you guys have only played 6 home games. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't even like you got 70 years of history like the Commanders do.
For sure. But the crazy thing about it also is even the players from the Commander supporters, they had the club seats right by the field, and guys on the team who had that relationship with those players who were the Commanders, they were sitting in the club seats and they was cheering us on. So just that love, back and forth, and even the Commanders embraced us. And when they came to the game, and they seen how it was rocking, and the plays we were making out there. I think that was the game when Swearinger got the pick 6, and I saw them on the sideline, and they was kind of taking it in too, like, yo, they rocking, you know what I'm saying? So it's just nothing but love in DC, man. I can't lie to you.
That's great. So you talk about Swearinger. You guys added a bunch of pieces this offseason.
Right.
What especially help with you on the edge with Harris, right? And Ward and Boogie. Like you got a lot of defensive line help. Talk to me about like, were you involved in any of those decisions or
you,
guys or anything like that? Or
you know what? One thing I do appreciate about DC and you know, they Vaughn and Reggie and the D line coach Watkins and Dion. Um, it felt good, man. They kind of let me in on picking the pieces and let me do some recruiting. And I just kind of want to thank them and Vaughn for trusting my eye. Um, you know, Big TJ Barnes is a guy that I wanted that I saw. I was just watching them when I was watching the Arlington games, and just to see that interior push and how it helps with the guy, how I rush. It prevents the step up. And then we reached out to Robert, and that deal didn't go through. We got some help on the back end with DeAndre Baker, from Georgia, who I played with. I kind of reached out to him and said, it's time to get you back to the league. So come rock out with me for one season so you can get back to the league. And he was with it. And then, we made it happen. So, just, man, I just appreciate them, for trusting me and for helping me make those decisions and stuff, at least give them some options and stuff. But, we're loaded up front. We understand it. Like I used to always tell them last year, man, defense wins championships and offense sells tickets. And if the quarterback can't get the ball off, you can't win. And I noticed that during the I'm gonna take a little stroll down memory lane, man. The Denver Broncos versus Cam Newton. And when I seen how that D-line won the Super Bowl, that's just the formula. And luckily, Coach Barlow and Greg and they believe the same thing. So we got a lot of firepower up front, man. We got a lot of firepower.
That's awesome, man. So have you played with Trent Harris before?
Never played with Trent Harris. He played with my boy Lorenzo Carter when in New York, and I've heard nothing but good things about him. Yeah, man, he's a beast. He's a beast. He had 9.5 last year.
Who's going to have more? That was my question. Who's going to have more sacks this year?
We got
a hot seat a little bit.
Yeah, nah. I'm always going to say me, of course. But towards when you start getting to the back end of the games, week 9, week 10, I would say about week 7 or week 10, man. It's for me. It's all about the personal stats kind of go out of the door, and it's about winning. You want to make the winning play. So, I could burn the edge right now, or do I want to, keep me in the pocket? And then, like, for example, last year when we played, Arlington, the last game of the season, and I batted the ball down, that play was meant for me to rush. But I saw something and I knew kind of what route was coming, and I decided to drop myself out of coverage. So when people start to talk about sack numbers and stuff, it's always cool to go get them. But around week 7, week 10, if your team is in that window to make it to the playoffs or a number 1 seed and you're fighting for seedings, it starts to get to making plays to help the team win. So, I mean, that's kind of how I always look at it. You always want to start off high, try to get as many sacks as possible, and then you kind of read what the team is. And then, you go for winning more so than personal stats. So, of course, I'm going to say me, but, man, I just want to win.
Talking about winning, you've been winning your whole life, man. Like Georgia, New Orleans, even when you're in Houston on the practice squad, you guys were winning quite a bit.
No doubt.
What's the special ingredient for winning? Because you've seen it all levels now. The NFL, the USFL, the XFL, the college. Right. You've seen all levels.
Man, look. So, just the biggest difference between Kirby Smart and Mark Richt, because I had the opportunity to play for both. I got Kirby Smart for 2 years, and I had Mark Richt for 3. And we was always a 10 10-win team with Mark Richt. And then when Coach Smart got there, that's when you start to see how the program is now. But his first year there, he also tell us, you won 10 games, but good is the enemy of great. And we really didn't know how to work. And if you haven't been around that culture, not just, I'm saying Alabama culture, but if you haven't been around a winning culture in any facet of life, working in a business, working on the field, when you hang around the top 1%, they do things different, and you realize how abnormal they are. When Coach Smart came to Georgia, I realized that we were doing things at Georgia to get us 10 wins, but we were very comfortable. And then when he got there, just to watch, it go from 10 wins to SEC championships, and you get a lot of recognition for those things. But what people don't see is the discipline to that and to stand humble to that. So, I kind of like to, luckily, I've been a leader. I was a leader of the defense, with the Breakers. And, that last year, Georgia, I was a vocal leader. And, going through the spring league, I've kind of taken what Coach Smart has instilled in me and tried to instill to people around me and get everybody on the same page as much as possible. So I think the thing that, like last year, what separated us last year with DC was, you kind of never let the team smell themselves. And I learned that with Bill O'Brien. We went on like a 8-game winning streak, and he cut all the TVs off in the facility because he didn't want to see everybody eating breakfast, watching First Take, and it's saying how Houston's is the Super Bowl favorite. So, luckily, man, I've got an opportunity to play for like Bill O'Brien, Romeo Crennel, Coach Smart, and Mark Richt, where you kind of can take what they instilled in you and try to put it in your teammates as much as possible. You know what I'm saying? So last year we was like on 4-0, 5-0, and I'll always, break the practice down with, even though we're 4-0, this is a game of inches. We're also a couple, inches away from being 0-4. And we realized that with the Seattle Dragons game, early in the year, with the fumble. And then, we played the Vegas team in the rain, and we had to do a last-minute drive there, and they fumbled. So just keeping everybody humble, man, and just understanding that you never talk about, the end goal. You just try to stay and do your work and chop wood and carry water.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You guys think you guys got the secret ingredient to take that next step for this upcoming season?
No doubt, man. We should have won. We should have won that last year. They came out and, honestly, they played well. But we should have won that last year. I think, the hardest thing about life is, like I always try to put football in real life. The hardest thing about real life and the hardest thing about playing football is complacency. We are human. And, we kind of felt like we did this to this team, we'll be the same way. And they came out a little hot. And but so I definitely think, the only thing that we have to change this year is because the formula's there and the culture's there. We're going to practice hard. We're not going to be complacent, but I think we just got to finish the job next time. We just got to finish the job.
You talk about complacency, and it's pretty tough for you guys in the spring football community right now. Going through all the merger. What was that like in the off season where like you really didn't know if your future, all the rumors said that DC was coming back with this merger and everything, but what was it like as a player to like not even know if you're going to be playing next year?
Man, we knew he was coming back. I'm not going to lie to you, man, because everyone loves the benefits of winning, but they don't want to do what it takes to get there. You know what I'm saying? So we understood that we was a hot team last year. That came a lot of attention. That came a lot of fanfare, but don't get why that came. Because we were winning. We for sure going to be back because they want to see the show. But but that also comes with the discipline that got us there. There was no one on our team that knew that thought we wasn't coming back. We put in the work last summer in camp to come back. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so like, I mean, what teams didn't survive the merger?
On the XFL side, you're 100% right.
But
It wasn't.
so the Maulers won last year, and they should be back because they won last year. You know what I'm saying? But some teams. I mean, what 1-14?
Yeah, yeah. You're
I
right.
mean,
You're right.
not one and
Outside of
14, but 1-8,
yeah, yeah. You're
two and
right.
eight.
You're
Do you?
you're
So, and I
yeah.
mean, at the end of the day, too, this is professional sports. The the UFL is a microscopic size of the NFL. And I think where this league is trying to get it to is, this is not a league for if you want to continue to play, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to just continue to play football, this is a league to where they're trying to get guys to the next level. So, sometimes, man, like guys get cut. That's how we ended up in the UFL. So you have to have the approach in your brain every day that this could be my last snap. See, I've been cut from 4, NFL teams, and they don't owe you any explanation. This is a business. At the end of the day, the UFL and this merger, this is professional sports. This is the 1.3%. This may not be the 1%, but this is the 1.3%. So people are going to get cut. This is not, okay, recreational football. If you're not an NFL, you can come play. So I kind of like that they got it down to 8 teams, the best of the best. And you got to beat the man across from you. You know what I'm saying? Because this is professional sports. It's like you're not guaranteed a job, even if the merger never happened. And that's how you got to live your day-to-day life in pursuing this football and when you're out there playing the snaps. Because the guys that made plays weren't worried.
That's fair. That's fair. That's
This
100% fair.
this is just part of the game. If everyone could play, then it wouldn't be the 1%.
Yeah.
So you have to do whatever you have to do to stay in the 1%.
That's fair. So do you think this should be considered more like, to be honest, you guys are like practice squad guys, right?
For
Like you're
sure.
fighting for practice squad. Or do you think the league should go into the league of kind of like the NBA with the G League? You think the practice squad for business sake, would you say that the practice squad kind of player is more marketable than like a G League player?
Let me ask you a question. If we go NBA G League,
Yep.
before they started letting guys not go to college and go to the G League, and we knew they was top 10 picks, did you know anybody in the G League? So perfect
I'm a
example.
basketball.
So we talk about basketball, right? Jalen Green played in the G League before
Yep.
he was a lottery pick. We all knew he was going to be a lottery pick, so that put more eyes on the G League. So basically, what I'm trying to say, if you want this is a product,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
What looks better on TV? A whole bunch of young guys running around, or pros?
Pros. You're right.
Do you want young guys as the quarterbacks for all 8 teams? Or do you want some AJ McCarron, some Ben DiNucci, some Jordan Tamus? What type of quality football you want to see? You
Yeah.
want to see
You're right.
an NFL rusher, or you want to see a young guy?
You're right.
Now, does that young guy have potential to be? Yeah, but this league's supposed to be, and I like where it's going because, people want to see good football. This is the only football that's going to be on. So if you want people to respect the product of professional football, it got to look like pros out there.
Yeah.
So those guys that, can get to the NFL and, they use the spring leagues as more time to develop and all that, Yeah, for sure. Because I've seen that work on our team. But why did that work? Because one, you had older guys in the room that's been to the league showing them the ropes. So I give you an example. If you make this just a whole young guy league, who's going to tell that guy how to move to get to the next step? Greg Williams told our D lineman Joe Wallace, and Joe Wallace, he told this to me, number 99 on our team. He said the first day of practice, I was coming like a roommate. Greg Williams said, if you follow him, you'll be back in the NFL. So not only just on the field, but off the field too, showing these guys how to move. You know what I'm saying? That's the beauty of it. So I think it should be a mixture. But when it comes to product, to be honest with you, young guy or old guy, the best player should play. And that's how and that's how it's gonna be. And then you also gotta look at these coaches. You know, these coaches, do they want to have time to teach 22 guys? All 22 are young guys. I gotta teach you how to do cover three, teach you how to do temper two, teach you how to man turn, teach you how to double swipe, teach you how to cross chop. These are professional coaches that are in this merger. They also want guys that are ready. If I say, all right, go out and go cover three, but the sky's just cover two, and I'm gonna bust the safety down on the backside, and I want you to Hollywood. They ain't got time to, you know what I'm saying? So I
Yeah.
think it's the perfect. It needs to be a perfect blend. But if you want people to tap in, you need the Ben DiNucci's, you need the Josh Gordons, you need the AJ McCarron. You know what I'm saying? You need the big, you know what I'm saying? Big 88 from the Battle Hogs. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
you need those guys. So, and I'm pretty sure it's a lot of good, you know what I'm saying, USFL. I'm just thinking about XFL because that's the last league I played in. But I mean, a ton of, you know what I'm saying, USFL guys too. So the best of both leagues are not playing. And I think with these 8 teams, these are the guys that got 1 foot in the league and 1 foot out. They can really be, they are second away, a relationship away, a head coach change away from being back in the league because they have the talent to be there. And that's what you want on all 8 teams. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
For
I
sure.
agree. I think the football talent this year it's going to take another step above. It doesn't matter if you're on either side with the XFL or USFL. I think this league will take the step above.
Man, just listen to this. If the Robert Benicia thing goes down, the DC Defenders D line room has Tim Ward, Trent Harris, Rock Ondici, Boogie, Fadal Brown, Andre Mintz, Joe Wallace, Derek Roberson. I mean, the list just goes on and on. I mean, that room is better than some NFL rooms.
I don't
You
disagree.
can't tell me if you mix up 5 or 6 different lineups and say go out there on a 2 minute in the Super Bowl, you can't tell me this same D line I just named to you won't get pressures, won't affect the game.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So
100%. Yeah.
this is what they want this league to turn into. This is what they want the league to turn into, and this is the only way it's gonna last. To be honest with you, because people want to see quality football, man. You gotta make somebody wanna watch you play. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. Um, talking about last year and then compare it to the USFL. You're the only one that was all USFL, all XFL.
Right, no doubt.
Was there a dramatic difference between the USFL and the XFL? I know the whole rivalry is supposed to be turning up, the different conferences, all that kind of stuff. But was there a dramatic difference? I'm not talking about staying in the hub situation, all that. I'm just
Right.
saying football.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, the first thing I'm gonna say, man, is I got so much love for the USFL because, I was one of the pioneer guys, you know what I'm saying? Like when they brought it back and it wasn't cool to play in the USFL, you know what I'm saying? And they gave me an opportunity to showcase my talent. So I'm always grateful for the USFL. I was fresh off being cut from the Chargers and I was up at the NFL, you know what I'm saying, alumni camp, and I just wanted to play football again. And then they said the spring league dropping. I'm like, I'm in. So I got so much appreciation with them for them because, if it wasn't for that, then where I am now, a step closer to the NFL with the back-to-back years I've had, I wouldn't be in this situation. But, I would say just the most thing of it was, I would say, I think that the XFL had a little bit more star firepower. And I would say, because they had the Josh Gordons, they had the Martavis Bryants, they had the Vic Beasleys, even Peter. I mean, and I could speak for the USFL because I played there. I didn't play year two. I just kind of feel like, man, the competition maybe was a tad bit more in
I agree.
in the XFL. And I would say the production of it, like you felt like a pro. You know what I'm saying? From Flying United, and us, DC. We're staying in the same hotel as the Commanders. You know what I'm saying? Um, we had a meeting room facility. So, I mean, I would say a little bit more. It wasn't a big difference between, I did 4 years in the NFL. It wasn't a big difference. You didn't feel like you was in the spring league at all.
especially in 2022, you were in that hub. If you weren't playing Birmingham, you weren't playing in front of anyone. So.
Right. And so that was the thing too. And then I say, if I'm not mistaken, my first year, the USFL had a lot more college coaches.
Yeah.
No, than the XFL.
You played for one. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, yo, like I'm 27. I'm not 19 no more. You get 20, 21 no more. You can't put all these mileage on me. Like I know the plays. I know the playbook. We off at 5. Let's get out of here, man. And but I think that was the most thing it was. Just it was a little faster. It was a little faster. I would say that a little faster. More preseason football, more preseason football.
Your first game against the Stars or the Breakers actually made me like support the Breakers and actually got me into this because with you and Diggs on the microphone.
Oh yeah.
Like
yeah.
Man, I remember it was Easter Sunday, man, and you're playing Philly, and you guys were just going. I was like, all right, I'm gonna roll with this team because of these guys.
Right.
What's it like when the crowd's not that loud and they got you mic'd up all over the place? And like, what goes through your mindset? Do you like have like a little check? Maybe I shouldn't say some things, or it doesn't matter.
So the reason why I was talking so crazy because anybody that's ever played with me or anybody that does know me knows that mic on, mic off, I'm the same guy.
Okay, that's awesome.
So I wasn't putting on the show. So majority of the times, like a lot of people tell you, like even this past year at XFL, I would go in and I was mic'd up. I'm like, y'all told you, like I don't want to be mic'd up. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm the same guy. It just happened that you're hearing it now. So I like to get in my opponent's head, man. That's a part of the game. It's physical warfare, but then also there's mental warfare. And sometimes I may do it by talking trash, and then sometimes I may do it by being extra polite. So I'm just reading the temperature. But yeah, it definitely wasn't the show, man. That's just how, that's just how, what I'm saying, I operate. But, that game, bro, was nobody in the stands, so it felt like practice. And I was in a zone, man. I was in a zone leading up to that game. We just had scrimmaged the Gamblers, and I had like a couple sacks in those, shutting down the scrimmages. And I was just in the zone, man. So by the time we rolled in, there's nobody in the stands, man. It's just in my mind, man. It felt like you're in practice, you're in a scrimmage.
It was awesome. He made a fan for life here, and it really got me into the Breakers because of that. Talking about being on TV and everything. This past season, you did a little broadcasting. What's that like?
Man, I started that last
year. On the
year.
other side.
Yeah, I definitely started that last year. Just as much as I wanted to play professional sports, I also wanted to be a sports broadcaster. That's also been a dream of mine. That's why I went to Georgia and pursued broadcast and communications. I've always been preparing for life after football, knowing exactly what avenue I was going into. So even at Georgia, I always made sure to have great relationships with the communication team that we had and also dealing with the media. If you have good ties with the media, it makes the transition so much more simple. So last year, I got a shout out to Luke Winsdale. He's at Georgia right now, and he got hired to do the GHSA playoff programming last year, and he invited me on. And I've been learning so much play by play from him, seeing how he operates in the booth, from a guy who's actually going to school for it. So I love being around him. And when they brought it to me again this year, I had to take it, man. So, basically, man, I'm just in the booth and I'm calling high school Georgia playoff game. So, it kind of, especially when you started to talk about the Graysons of the world, and now you got the number one quarterback in the nation rolling in, and like these games get a little packed. And we was having game of the week so many times this year. Man, it was just a fun experience. So he just does the play-by-play, and I throw in, my 2 cents. And he's really been helping me with it, man. And, our show, every time we stream, what's the number one streamed, show to watch the Georgia high school playoffs. So, man, it's been a blessing, man. But, yeah, man, I love it. I love it, man. I love it just as much as I love football.
Talking about that number one quarterback and you being a Georgia guy, I got to bring it up.
Right.
What's the deal with him switching? He committed to Georgia and now he went to Nebraska. Like,
man,
how can you go to high school in Georgia, commit to Georgia, and then back out of it? I know he's been around a little bit, but
right. I mean, the way the game changing right now, I think that guy came from Cali, then lived in Texas, then moved to Georgia. So you don't have any really strong ties to Georgia. And then I'll watch him play Grayson. Of course, he'd be different with better pieces around him, but I think when I watched him play Grayson, because I was actually calling that game, first thing that came to my mind was, if he doesn't come, we'll be okay.
Oh boy!
So
that's what all the Georgia fans around here said. Like, okay, see ya. Like, you don't want to be in. You don't want to be in there. That's fine.
Yeah. We're fine, and I know he's in high school now, but there were some things I thought I was going to see that I didn't. And I'm like, we're fine. We're fine. The guy we let get out of state and go to Ohio State that goes to, I think, some school he's like the number one quarterback in Georgia. I forgot what school but he committed to Ohio State. We let him out.
Yeah. So
he's a lot better.
Yeah. And there's always good quarterbacks in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can go through Deshaun, Trevor, like they're
right.
Fields, they're all so. There's always talent in Georgia. You talk about life after football. I noticed on your social media, On Point Roofing.
Oh yeah. No doubt.
You're a roofer. You get up there, or you just kind of in charge? I can't imagine. Like usually the roofers are smaller guys, man. Like,
yeah, man. I'm. That's another Georgia Connect right there. And I'm also transitioning that into my own construction company of me being the main contractor. But I got that going on. Yeah, I'm kind of just managing it, man. I get on top of a couple roofs just to learn more about it. But man, I'm kind of just managing it. I'm kind of just managing it and being a great salesman for them. And yeah, man, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of fell in my lap, and it's a good gig. It's a good gig, for sure. A good gig. Not have to get on top of the roof and do the work, for sure.
Yeah, small business owners are always hustling, man. They're almost like they're like the spring football players of the business world. You know what I mean? They're just hustling the entire time. I owned a small business for a short period of time in HVAC, and it's 7 days a week all the time, man. It's 7 days a week all the time.
For sure, it's hustling. It's hustling.
So I watched a podcast this week that you talked about a book, right. And I obviously we don't want to give details of the book out there, but just the whole concept. That's the reason why I'm bringing it up, because I just want you to share with the DC Defenders Nation, Beer Snakes, Lemonheads, all that stuff, UFL fans.
So
like the concept. The concept is just great. The fact that you are keeping a journal, and I think you called it like kind of like Anne Frank.
For sure.
Nothing as dramatic as that, obviously. Yeah, sure. But the fact that like you're keeping the journal and it's just your raw feelings right then and there without going through editing. like where like, oh well, we could sell this a little bit, or you're telling someone it's DB's raw emotions.
Yeah, man. I think that's what's going to draw people in. But kind of like you said, just to get back to it, I have like 3-4 journals full of, me writing ever since, I had to figure out a way to deal with, you know what? I'll just say it, deal with a little bit of depression from, being cut all the time, not getting a fair opportunity. So like I would have this notebook with me and, when I go try for a team and they say no, I'm on the plane. I got some chapters, written off as like flight 1760 or somewhere because that's what my ticket number said, and that's just what my thoughts were right then and there. But I've been keeping this, man, for like 3-4 years, and it's crazy because when I go back and read them, I realize like, damn, right here you was in a dark place. Okay, but 2022, man, you kind of picked it up a little bit. Okay, damn, 2023 got like this. Okay, boom, boom, boom. So I think the beautiful thing about it is, a lot of people look at, athletes as, like, what I'm saying, superheroes and, not really real people or whatever. But I think the rawness of the book will make people understand that. And also, I think it may help people as in, oh, he feels how I feel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And yeah, I just want it raw. I want it raw, man. And I definitely think every emotion I've ever had chasing this dream is in those notebooks. From the darkest thoughts to the best of thoughts. And I think what makes a great, artist is being vulnerability.
Yep.
And that's what I'm giving in my book. So basically, I'm not even gonna lie to you, man. It's whenever I decide to say, okay, this is the cutoff point. Do I want to continue? Because there are more chapters in my life that I want to complete to throw into the book. But as far as what I have now, man, I have enough, man, to just hand it over to somebody and say, let's put it out, and I want it just as raw as that. Because it's honestly me giving the world my diary to help people also get through whatever they get through. And it'll be here forever. Even when I'm gone, it'll be here forever. So yeah, man, that's a big project that I'm so excited to give to people.
That's unbelievable. Like to think that deeply, while you're chasing that dream, and to think on the other side, being like, you know what, I can make a difference in all these other people's lives while you're chasing the dream that has been such a challenge.
No
Just
doubt.
unbelievable.
No doubt, because at the end of the day, like, this is a game. And, I'm chasing this, but you can use football in every type of analogy. So, and then, kind of, I learned that with, the mama mentality stuff, as in, that jail wasn't for basketball. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to have my own mentality, like they call this, but at the end of the day, I want something that people can pick up and read, that can also propel them to get over that hill. Or, cause like I say, also in my notes, how I brought it your attention, I may look back and I say, damn, he was in a dark place then, but then 22, he was in a good place. Well, what does that tell you? Or what does that tell the reader? Or what does that tell me? Oh, he's in a dark time, but there are good days ahead. So even while you're going through yours and you're reading mine, you're like, okay, he was going through this, and then he wrote this, and a year later, there were good times ahead. And I only write when it comes to it. I don't force it. You see what I'm saying? So whenever I got to get it out, then I put it in. So yeah, man, I think it'd be dope.
Yeah, it's a great concept. And when I heard that on the podcast, I was like, I gotta bring that up because
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, for sure.
the whole thing is like like you said, you're not forcing it. It's when you are either at a really high or really low. There's not like, oh, I went to the store, I had dinner, moving on. It's actual like concept, like things that bother or affect people, like
For sure.
or affect you. So it's just
sure.
a great concept, and in this crazy world we live right now, like people need that. You know what I mean?
No doubt. I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Yeah, you talked about the Mamba mentality, right?
For sure.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a Celtic fan. Does that
Right.
make you a Laker fan? Because you're already wearing the Yankee hat, and I'm a Red Sox fan. Does that make you a Laker fan too?
I'm a big Laker fan, man. I'm a big Laker fan, and I think you've seen probably a couple times in the comments. I may put, the Lakers. And that's kind of the mentality that I used to instill into the DC Defenders. We are the Lakers. We're 4-0. We're on TV. We're trending. But we work hard to be the Lakers. But also, it's a lot of odds. So also, it's going to come with a lot of negativity. But also, it pays the cost to be the Lakers. Everyone loves to be the Lakers, but don't nobody want to pay the cost to be the Lakers. So that's what I always used to instill into DC Defenders is, we're the Lakers because we can have fun and win it, but we also don't work like the Lakers too. So when we used to get, this is very fun. We used to get new guys. Like we used to get new guys from, it may be a trade or a free agent, and the first thing everybody say is, welcome to the Lakers, and. We had a guy, he came from Vegas and, he came to the Lakers, to the DC Defenders in his first day of practice. He was lining up off sides, not lining up right. That's not how the Lakers do things. At DC Defenders practice, where we keep you're a Boston Celtics fan, so you feel the same way.
Yeah. So, it's hurting me right here, man. It's hurting me right here. It's hurting me right here.
So I'm a
I got you.
You catch the drift though.
Yeah, it's the same thing. You don't hang division championships. You only hang world championships. So that's the Celtic mentality and the Laker mentality.
There you
Except
go.
that in-season tournament, they did put that in-season tournament. I'm like, man, come on, you're the Lakers. Like Utah, okay, I get it, but
I'm kind of stuck between the two because it's the first one ever.
Yeah.
So
in 100 years, like everyone will be having those banners. They were the first one.
First one ever. So that kind of. But I'm both ways, but I don't know, man. I'm like, come on, man. You know how we do.
Well, thank you. You are a great follow. I'm going to tell you that on Twitter. Like you are an insightful follow. It's not. There's no drama in it. Like there's a lot of guys out there it's all drama and put everything out there. Everyone should follow you, but we've reached the end zone. This is where we kind of end our interviews. You get the floor. The stage is yours. The floor is yours. Shout outs, anything you want to say. It's DB's team.
Oh man, no man. I appreciate you for having me on the official, DC Defenders show. So hopefully we draw the numbers up on this and get all the fans, back, in Audi Stadium, man. But I ain't got too much to say, man. But just chop wood and carry water, man. You know what I'm saying? That's it.
That sounds like a bulldog, man.
No doubt.
Living in Georgia, I will be honest, I'm not a Georgia fan, but I've turned to respect them. I'm not originally from Georgia, so that's the reason why I'm not a Georgia fan. But I've learned to respect them. At the beginning, when I first moved down here in 2012, I was like, "Oh man, Georgia fans, they talk a lot for the 10-2 mentality, like you were talking about."
Yeah, for sure, no doubt.
Now I like respect it because it's just a different breed. It's not the same Georgia from when I first moved down here.
It's not. It's not. So yeah, man, appreciate you for having me, boss.
Yeah, this has been DC Defender Show. Davin Bellamy.